God's sacrifice of Jesus, God hurting and forsaking his son's body, was not God's getting a wrath exhaustion. God's wrath is never exhausted. Jesus was not getting our punishment, unless you call getting hurt a punishment, on the cross. Rather, by his stripes we're healed. Jesus was not being penalized for our wrongs, but he removed our wrongs like any of the Old Testament sacrifices. Penalty substitution is against the Bible, so we should be against it. What's a sacrifice for? It's to kill, not pour hatred upon. Why hate a spotless lamb who does the job well? Nay, but only slay him to make his job effective. God's hatred of sinners was not at the cross. Rather, the cross is a declaration of the intolerableness of sin. God will not contradict himself, and so he removes sins by Christ's body. He doesn't pay or settle a tally. He's satisfied in the work of making a sacrifice, not in the release of some hate. Hate is for those who cling to their sin. But what about our contradictions? They're faceless things. They can't be hated. A contradiction cannot mean to do itself, nor does Jesus, the bearer, mean any of them. What wrath is there? Jesus was crushed, bruised, to rid our sin, not exhaust wrath. Sin, not wrath, was put away. Without sin, there's no wrath. God forsaking and bruising Jesus is not comparable to our hypothetical hells. God never has active wrath against his son. That's not why Jesus was crushed or cursed. Jesus was our sacrifice instead. God is satisfied to make the sacrifice and put away sins. He's not satisfied by exhausting his wrath, whatever that even means. You can't see it since you're making something up inside of God. God's wrath is not put away at the cross, only sin. God doesn't have wrath on believers because Jesus already took away our sins. Don't be tricked. Penal substitution jargon should be kept in the seminary where anything may be justified. Preaching it is wrong. God didn't punish his sacrifice when he punished Jesus. Penalty, well, if you want to say punish, you could say hurt Jesus. Penal substitution, which is what I'm against, so I'll say he doesn't. You shouldn't translate. Penalty substitution tries to own the bruising and forsaking of Christ's body, but that happened long before penalty substitution was decreed. Don't attribute excess to God lest it grow. It can only grow into the wrong direction. And why have it at all then? I talked to a preacher on Friday. We agreed to nullify PS. The next Sunday it bloomed. What happened? When we prove on Friday that all evil comes from PS, then its blasphemies are manifest in the pulpit. I show people the difference between good and evil, and they choose evil. Now I give you the option to blaspheme God. Will you go the way of your preachers? God didn't punish his sacrifice. That is not how to remove sins.